Hello, this is Marty LaBarbera with Christian Brothers Automotive in New Tampa and Wesley Chapel. Just about everybody's had that experience where they were driving down the road and their temperature gauge started to rise. Is that a problem? And what should you do about it? Well, the temperature gauge measures the engine temperature. And the engine temperature is controlled by the radiator, the thermostat, the water pump that circulates through your engine to take the heat out of the engine and keep the temperature low. In today's modern cars, it's really important to keep your engine temperature within acceptable range, because the motors are made out of aluminum now. Holds the weight down, does a lot of positive things. But aluminum does not like heat. If an aluminum engine overheats even slightly, it can warp the metal and cause things to leak. So we want to be very careful to not allow aluminum engines to overheat. Normal operating temperature for an aluminum engine is somewhere between 190 and 210 degrees, and that's fine. Most of the modern cars have temperature gauges that help you see where the temperature of that engine is. Now, at times, that temperature can rise while you're driving. At other times, that temperature stays fine while you're driving, but when you come to a stop, like at a red light, then you see the temperature gauge rising. What do you do in those situations? How do you handle it? Well, let's say you're driving down the road and the temperature gauge starts to rise slowly. One of the first things that you should do is turn your air conditioner off, turn your heater on full blast. Now that may sound strange, but your heater actually operates off of a small radiator which increases the cooling capacity to your engine. Oftentimes by turning the air conditioning off, which reduces the power load on the engine, and turning your heater on, which adds additional cooling capacity, the temperature will either stabilize or start to come down. If that temperature doesn't stabilize and looks like it's not going to stay within a normal operating range, then pull over someplace safely, stop, and turn the engine off. Don't try to make it home. It doesn't even matter if it's just another 2 or 3 miles. That 2 or 3 miles could be the difference between being able to do a fairly simple repair and get your car back on the road versus ruining the engine and having to decide, what do I do with my car now that my engine is no good anymore? Now, second situation, let's say you're driving along and the engine temperature stays normal. Then you come to a stoplight. You're sitting in traffic, you're waiting, and all of a sudden you notice your temperature is starting to rise. Now, the light changes, you pull away, the temperature starts to go down again. Does that mean I should ignore it? Does that mean it's okay? No, it doesn't. Your temperature in the engine is controlled by the radiator, the water pump, the coolant circulating, and the fans that turn on to bring air through the radiator when your car's not moving. When your car's moving, the natural movement causes wind to come through the radiator and cool. When your car's not moving, the fans create the wind that bring through the radiator and cool them. Oftentimes, if those fans aren't working properly, your car will cool fine while you're moving, but when you come to a stop, the temperature will start to rise. If the traffic moves quickly enough, you're in good shape, because the temperature will come back down again when you're moving and you'll be able to get to a shop to have it looked at and have the repair done. If you're in a red light for a long time or in bad traffic where you're just creeping along, before you know it, that temperature could start to rise and go up to an unsafe place. If that's the case, as uncomfortable as it may be, you either need to find a place to pull over safely before the temperature gets too high and shut the engine off, or you're going to need to find a way to turn that engine off before the temperature gets too high, no matter where you're sitting, as long as you're safe. Now, you're going to back up traffic, there's going to be a problem, but the decision is between backing up traffic or losing an engine and have to do a really expensive repair. I'm Marty LaBarbera with Christian Brothers Automotive in New Tampa and Wesley Chapel. And remember, responsible car ownership is not only doing repairs, but it's also doing preventative maintenance.